Hi, I'm Roy Kranz from Wyman Technology. Wyman Technology is a Gold Alliance partner. We do custom test stands, servo hydraulics, and dynamometers. I'm here today to introduce our TestTracker software. So WTI's TestTracker software manages your test systems, their configurations, their units under test, test requests, and along with their data and reporting information. Within our admin tool, you can define your users, their permissions, the various groups they belong to, and their access to all the areas of the system. You can also define your test stations, all your different test stands, the software and configurations that are valid for them, along with monitoring their historical performance and information that they've been running. We manage all the configuration information for your test stands. So for instance, if you're transferring calibration files, configuration files, we manage all of that, revision control it, and apply that to the indicated test stands. We include definitions of your product groupings. So for instance, if you have various widgets, if you have widget type A, widget type B, you can define those groupings and then indicate which test profiles are valid for those particular product groups. In addition, you can also define all your various test units. Each test unit can contain any amount of metadata that's applicable to the particular product and applicable to the particular unit. We include post-processing capability, so for each action on the unit, you can indicate an analysis to run at the completion of the test that was run on the unit. TestTracker also allows you to control all of your test profiles that are being applied to your units, being executed on your units. Each test basically includes the file or files that your test stand uses. Our system is test file agnostic, so we don't care what is the actual test software that's running. We will control the revisions of those files and provide those to the test stands when they're required. We also track the valid products and configurations that can execute those tests, so you don't have to keep track of that. One of the features that we have is basically the concept of a test request, where the user creates a sequence of tests to perform on a given set of units. So a user can come in and select a sequence, create a sequence of loops and tests that need to be run, and specify the number of units or the units that need to run that particular sequence. In addition, you can define any number of metadata items that go along with that test request. You can define notifications that occur at various events. So for instance, if this test request starts, I can create a notification and send an email to any number of users. If the test request completes, it's canceled, or if there's a unit failure, I can have that automatically send a report to any number of email addresses. On the post-processing side, you can also add post-processing events that generate snapshots of all of your data when the test request has a completion event. Then you can use third-party software, for instance like National Instruments Diadem, to query this information and then perform analysis on the data files that were generated for that test. That third-party software can also post results back into the database, so you have a complete record of what has occurred for that test request in that unit. So each test request, along with tests and units, feature post-processing events. Post-processing events occur when that item completes its particular task, when a test completes, when a unit has a completed test, and so on. Those events create a snapshot of the state of the test request at that point. Third-party analysis tools such as National Instruments Diadem can then query the database and receive that snapshot of information in order to perform post-processing analysis. Once they've completed their post-processing analysis, they can use our API to post that information back into the database so there's a complete record and report for that unit, test request, and test. Users can also create test request templates. Test request template is basically a template for generating a test request. So, for instance, if the customer frequently performs a certain sequence of tests, they can create a template that includes those tests in it, and then when an engineer or someone needs to perform that testing, they can use that request template to generate a new test request, add the required units to it, and then perform that or publish that to the test stands. Test requests themselves also feature the release process. So you're allowed to modify a test request, update various test revisions and so forth until it is released. Once you release it, it then becomes available to the test stands and can be requested from whichever test stands are valid to execute that request. On the visualization part, the TestTracker software includes a data dashboard. So the data dashboard basically provides a look at various metrics and information concerning your test system. The user is provided with a number of types of widgets that they can add to the system and basically populate with various data that's in the test stand, set up the system that they would like, adjust various properties of the widgets that's created, adjust different metrics, and so forth. In addition, they can copy the information that's in any metric as to a printer, or copy the data out so they can do any sort of additional reporting that they would like to. Each of the metrics that's provided can be set to periodically update and query the database, so you can get real-time feedback of the status of your test request. In this case, you can get the historical throughput of your test stands, yield of your test stands, uptime, pass-fail ratios, and many more types of metrics. On the deployment side, we provide a deployment engine which allows the test stand software to be automatically deployed from the TestTracker. And what TestTracker does is per test stand, it will allow the user to enter in, it'll allow the user to log in and only provide them with the set of configuration files that are valid for their test stand. In this case, I logged into the system. It basically indicated the list of configuration files and the type of deployment it's going to do. For my example, this is a National Instruments VeriStand deployment, and the configuration files consist of all of the National Instruments VeriStand project files, screen files, and calibration files. We also allow custom channels to be transmitted from the test stand into the database so that users can track important and critical values. Thanks for watching. For more information, you can go to our website at weinmantech.com.